Hey y'all, how you doing? Welcome if you are new to the channel, and welcome back if you love me. I love you too. We are here because Spirit guided me to the astro dice, so we're going to see what sign needs it the most, and then what house or planetary placement may also be significant if you do not have whatever zodiac sign comes out in your big three. So let's see, what sign is it, please, Spirit? Taurus. All right, Taurus. This message is for you in divine time whenever it is meant to catch you. We will also be reading for placements that are significant in the 6th house and Venus. Now, Venus is naturally Taurus's ruled planet. So you may have Venus in Taurus. If you are not a Taurus sun, moon, rising, you may have Venus in Taurus. You may have Venus in your 6th house. You may have Taurus ruling your 6th house. The 6th house is naturally ruled by Virgo. So you may have Virgo ruling your 6th house, which would make you an Aries rising. Okay. So if Taurus is your 6th, Virgo is in your 6th house, then you're an Aries rising. If Taurus is in your 6th house, then you could be a Sag rising. All right. Then you could be, Sag rising. So, excuse me. Let me write this stuff down so that I do not forget to put it in the thumbnail. So it could be for Sag rising, Taurus, Venus, Aries rising. You could also have Venus in the 2nd house or the 7th house, because Venus being ruled by Libra, Libra is the 7th house, and Taurus that it's ruled by is the 2nd house. So you could also have Venus being guided to the 2nd, Venus in the 2nd. You could be Venus rising. Or Venus in the 6th. Venus and Virgo. Okay. Definitely a Venusian message. So we are going to start the read with the Harrow. Y'all know me and these Harrow cards. So let's see. We're going to start with the Harrow. And we're also going to get into the energy alignment deck. My energy alignment deck. And we doing the hand-drawn cards? Yes. Okay. I don't know what Claire it is for clear touch, but Spirit has me on that shit every fucking time when with decks. So let's get the overall energy, what you need to know that at this time for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Sag rising, Venus in Taurus, Venus in the 6th, Venus in Virgo. What is going on? What is going on? What do they need to know at this divine time whenever they catch it? What do they need to know? Cosmic energy at play with the dance. There may be certain things with Venus going on in the divine time that you catch this, or things going on in Taurus at the divine time that you catch this that may be significant to your own chart or someone's chart that you're dealing with. I don't want to call out the actual transits right now because I feel like this is definitely meant to catch people in a divine time. We have Rakshasa. Give me one more. I feel like there's one more. The Lost, and it came out reversed. Okay. Oh, really? I don't know what is going on with the energies today. You guys know I never cough like this. And it was as soon as I flipped the bottom, I looked at the bottom, it was the betrayal on the bottom and the twin on top. Okay. I'll put some 𝗏𝗂𝗿 on that one. All right. Because whoever they are is gonna need it. All right. Clarities on these energies, please, Spirit. Clarity on these energies, please. It's my hand-drawn deck. Give me insight into the dance. Give me a card to help clarify what the dance is and what it's doing. We've got the honey jar. It technically flew out in the reverse. I'm going to leave it like that. And it came out with the hammer, the scissors, and the honor. Clarify the Rakshasa, please. Got the match. Anything else for the Rakshasa? One go through. Okay. We got the key, the sun, and the angel as well. Interesting alignment for that card. And clarify the lost in the reverse. We've got the sun in its eclipsed form with the fish. I feel like there's more. Spirit, you're doing it, aren't you? And the starting line. Okay. Top of the deck is the black swan. Bottom is sonar. Okay. And lastly, but not least, our full picture. What is the energy alignment of the dance? I got growth-oriented, reversed, and integrity-oriented, reversed. Okay. Clarify the Rakshasa, please. All of these cards are upright, y'all. Adventurous, reversed. Idealistic and honest, reversed. And negates their own feelings out of compassion for others. Okay. And clarify the lost in the reverse, please. Clarify the lost in the reverse, please. Ooh, vindictive and detached or aloof in the reverse. Top of the deck is solution-oriented. Bottom of the deck is liar, skews or omits the facts. The light being truthful. Okay. Okay. Let me help you understand the dance. The dance is a lawful good energy in D&D. It's contracted light in readings that I do. Okay, contracted light. Contracts, right? Lawful is contracts that we have that are good alignment. The dance is a rich and delicate framework that, like the universe itself, requires everyone within it to abide by its rules, lest the entire construct collapses. It advises staying in perfect step and knowing your place in the greater good. Those who step out of the pattern do so at their own peril. There is a rhyme and a reason to everything. The honey jar in the reverse is the sting, right? It's something like the honey being the sweetness of life. Being in the reverse is the sting. It's keeping you from what is golden or what is sweet, right? With the honor, the light hammer, and the scissors, you may be dealing with a connection that honoring it is painful, and you may need to bring the light in and potentially cut it off because you want to be growth oriented. But if you flip it into its shadow side, you're making excuses, right? Whenever it's in reverse, we look at the upright of the shadow on the opposite side. So you're not being growth oriented. You're making excuses not to. You want to be growth oriented, but you're making excuses not to. Integrity oriented being in the reverse is sociopathic. Sociopathy. What you have to understand about it, people who have no moral or integral ground, means they want what they want, even if it causes harm to others. You might not deem yourself a sociopath or see yourself that way, but if you want a certain goal or a certain success in a certain dynamic ship, and it's painful, you have to understand it is also painful for someone else. You know, if you want to be with this person or be in this situation or be with this position in the company or whatever it is for you, hell or high water, thinking it is good, you may be hurting other people in the process and not care, because the end justifies the means. We just had a conversation similar to this in the personal read that I just did for my Divine Rebel members right before going live here. The end justifies the means. Like, I'll give you an example of, because everybody has their idea of what real sociopathy is. You know, the shadow side, the obvious villain, right? The narcissist, the gaslighter, the liar, and all that shit. But if you look at it from a different perspective, right? The empath can also be considered sociopathic, and this is why. The sociopath wants to love the narcissist no matter what, even if it is painful for the narcissist to be with them, even if they are in the way of someone else being in alignment with them. Like the empath that loves the narcissist refuses to break up with them, refuses to let them go, even if the narcissist wants to move on, even if they found somebody else they want to be with, even if they're entertaining other people, the empath doesn't go away. And it creates pain. Right? It creates pain because the empath just can't let it go. They are willing to hurt other people in the pursuit of their goal, which is being with and healing the narcissist. It's equally sociopathic on the opposite end of the spectrum. or one gaslights and one withholds their emotions, or one lies and keeps secrets. The other is extremely honest. They're full of emotions. They're constantly expressing it, constantly trying to heal, constantly trying to love. And it doesn't matter if it's hurting the other person who can't reciprocate and can't get away from it either. Because at some point, the narcissist doesn't want anything to do with it. They know they're hurting this person. They want to move on in their life, and they can't. And they can't. The narcissist may become blatantly obvious and saying, I don't want to be with you. And the empath is not buying it. They don't want to believe it, you know, and they're continuing to pursue this goal, even if it's hurting other people, even if it's causing trouble for someone in their new relationship. Even if it's causing trouble for someone at their job. Even if it's embarrassing them in front of their friends. Right? So the dance, the light really does want to come in and cut something off that you've been honoring. Okay? Or that you've committed to in some way, because you're making excuses for it. Right? Being growth oriented in the reverse, you're making excuses for it. Or at least this energy is. Whoever or whatever this is. Honoring it and not cutting it off. Not bringing the light hammer in. Is causing stagnation and dishonoring the self. Right? This is a heart chakra card. A self-love card. Because heart chakras, we have green and we have pink, right? We had solution oriented. They're both heart chakra cards, but one is harmony oriented and one is self oriented. It's lacking self integrity. You are doing something, or someone is doing something that they wouldn't want done to them if it were the other way around, and if they were truly in someone else's shoes. Like, let's just say the person with the example I was giving, right, of the empath being head over heels for a narcissist and trying hell or high water to heal the narcissist, wanting, you know, to attach to them. This is very prevalent in twin flame dynamics, right? The chaser is chasing the runner, no matter how painful it is, no matter what the healing process of the runner is, you know, like they're constantly chasing and not allowing the runner to actually catch a breath and heal, right? They're sacrificing their own integrity. If someone just wanted to live their life and be on their own path and figure it out and not be all consumed by somebody else's obsession or obsessive need to be with them, if it were the other way around, you would want someone to just leave you alone. It doesn't matter how grand their exclamations of love are. It doesn't matter. You just need and want to be on your own. And so it's like having to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And there's a lack of that with whoever this person is. I think they have good intentions. They might be a contracted light, right? A light energy in life, and or you are, right, a contracted light, but the way you're going about it, or the way they are going about it, right, however this reading resonates for you, it may be painful, right? You might actually need to honor the connection by separating from it, because it is painful for you or the other person, if not both, even if it's in different ways, because there's no growth or integrity here with this person. Okay. Now, because these are in the light attribute side of the card and they're reversed, someone may have been sociopathic in some which way, shape, or form, or was making excuses, and they're working on their growth and working on their integrity. It could mean that as well. All right, so you can take it either way. The Rakshasa. The Rakshasa. Their energy is a little different. The Rakshasa is lawful evil, or contracted shadows, right? Shadow contracts. Hey, Lala. I'm doing Taurus. And strong Venusian energy. I got all the dice right up here. So the Rakshasa, lawful evil or shadow contracts, right? So we have lawful good with the dance and we have lawful evil with the Rakshasa. The Rakshasa is the card of dominance and mind control. The creature sitting serenely upon the back of the slave indicates an exterior force imposing itself upon another being's mind. On occasion, the slavery is literal, but more often it is mental enslavement to a force or idea. All right. Adventurous in the reverse. Comfort zone stagnation. Let's flip these. Idealistic in the reverse is looming expectations. Honest in the reverse is tells you what they think you want to hear. Dishonest. And then we had negates their own feelings out of compassion for others in the upright as the shadow. Okay. The match is about a light in the dark place, right? That someone lights a match. A shadow contract. With the key, the sun, and the angel. I feel like, one, there might be a Chiron energy here. Whenever the key comes out, it's like Chiron. And or the Rakshasa is shining light on the fact that they martyr who they are and come off to be an angel. And or they're perceiving their Chiron, whoever is triggering their Chiron energy this way, they're seeing this person in the light as an angel, when really maybe they themselves are enslaved to said person because they perceive it that way. Like they're stagnating in their comfort zone. They have these expectations on them from some person, and they're not happy, but maybe telling them what they want to hear, right? Negating their own feelings out of compassion for someone else that they're seeing as the angel. When the reality inside their shadow is that they, in fact, are the angel and are having their Chiron triggered, right? And that maybe the person that they're perceiving is not actually in alignment. But there's this, whether either way you take it, someone is comfortable stagnating inside their comfort zone, whether it is being the person energetically enslaved to the other. It's comfortable for them to be dictated over, right? It's comfortable or familiar for them to be in some kind of pain state and sacrifice themselves for someone else. Or they're stagnating in their comfort zone of control and not willing to meet the expectations of spirit, right? That they're lying to themselves and thinking they could be this way forever. And negating how they really feel about it because this person wants to self-sacrifice, right? It's kind of like the narcissist who, because we're talking lawful evil, right? It's contracted shadow. It's kind of like the narcissist who stays with the empath because they know the empath wants to sacrifice for them. They're not growth oriented, right? They're not growth oriented. They make excuses for the narcissist all the time. This really is about how the empath needs to grow beyond the contract of the narcissist empath paradigm. Because in the reality, even though this is a shadow contract, they're doing light work, because the shadows, the darkness serves the light, so to speak, right? The Rakshasa is allowing the empath to martyr themselves, allowing the first person to martyr themselves as an act of light, to heal the Chiron wound going on. Like the Rakshasa is lighting a match inside the darkness so that the empath can see themselves. And yet it's almost like the hammer wants to hit the match and snuff the light out. Like, no, I don't want to see my flaws. I don't want to see my weakness. I want to believe that I'm an angel. I want to believe that I'm perfect. And I want to vilify you for not accepting it. But there was nothing inside the Rakshasa that truly wants to use the empath. I really do feel like the empath won't go away. And so the Rakshasa is allowing it and continuing to benefit from it, but not because they're choosing to, but because the empath won't stop. Does that make sense? The empath won't go away. The runner-chaser dynamic. The chaser won't go away. Like the runner is trying to run and say, no, I don't want to be in this dynamic with you. And the chaser's not giving up. No, I'm chasing you anyway. I'm going to catch you anyway. I'm going to catch you. And they're not stopping. And so it's almost like the Rakshasa was like, fine, you can catch me. I'll let you catch me. You ain't going to like it when you catch me. But that's okay, because as long as you hold on, I'll let you. I'm tired of running. Right? I'm tired of running. I'm exhausted from this. So I'll use you then. I'll use you then. You want it so bad, so be it. It's an intelligence card, the Rakshasa. This person's like, fine, I see your wounds. You're making excuses and you're sociopathic and you don't even realize it. You are willing to hurt other people to get and obtain your goal, which is me. You're willing to hurt good people because you're obsessed with me. You're willing to hurt other people that I may be destined to be with because you're obsessed with me. You're sociopathic and you're making excuses. I feel like this person would never peg themselves as sociopathic, never. But they are. They're impulsive and reckless in their pursuit of a goal. Even if it hurts other people, they don't care. They want what they want. And it's the Rakshasa. They want to be enslaved to the Rakshasa. They want it. Their wounds want it. They want the pain. They want to honor the pain. So the Rakshasa said, fine. The Lost in the Reverse. It's a wisdom card. And it's chaotic evil. It's a chaotic evil energy. In the upright, the card is of emptiness and loss of identity. The Bodak shown is forever mad, lost in a world of lunatics, insane asylums, and mass unalivers. For those under its influence, the world makes no sense. It evokes times where all is babble, as when meeting someone who speaks only in another tongue. Misaligned or in reverse, it can indicate clarity of mind under duress. It came out with vindictive, which means the way to get out of it would be to focus on sympathetically understanding. And detached or aloof in the reverse, so when we flip it to the light, it's responsive. whoever is being eclipsed out, right? The light being eclipsed out. If they go deep, they might find themselves in a new starting position. The problem is if they move forward and don't understand, right? The sympathetically understanding, being in the shadow face with vindictive. If the Rakshasa stays to appease the dance for too long, their own light is going to get eclipsed out. They have to start in a certain direction and let the empath or the dance go. And they're going to have to dive real deep and not feel like a shitty person because someone who is quote unquote giving them everything or doing everything for them is not who they want. And they're going to have to forgive themselves for stagnating in it, right? Fulfilling this expectation to stick around, fulfilling this expectation to, you know, be loved in a circumstance that they don't actually resonate with. To tell the dance what they want to hear, right? Being dishonest, to tell them what they want to hear. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I appreciate you. When they really don't. They really don't. They're expected to say, I love you. They're expected to tell this person that they're happy. No, it's not you. Like, they're expected to say certain things. But it's dishonest. They negate their own feelings out of compassion for someone else who is dead set on loving them. Dead set on making it work. Let's make it work. And it's like, someone does not love someone else. They're in it because they feel obligated to. And they are literally negating their own feelings because if they don't want to hurt someone else or they're afraid of what this person would do. They're afraid of what this person would do. Not necessarily just to them, but to themselves. You know. Yeah, I think you have someone who is sociopathic in an empath role where they are trying to make something work, even if it hurts, even if it needs to get cut off, even if they need to go their separate ways. They're insistent. And they don't care who's hurting because of it. They don't care if there's children involved and children are hurting. They don't care. And so the Rakshasa is literally just, right, person number 2. Doesn't know what to do. They don't actually feel connected. I feel like there's a complete disconnect. They don't actually feel connected emotionally, spiritually to the first person. There's definitely a Chiron connection there. Definitely a Chiron connection there. I think ultimately, I think the Rakshasa is going to realize that they have to let this person go. They have to. With the third energy here, I don't feel like this is a third person. I feel like this is a realization within the two energies. And I'm being drawn to how the head of the match looks really similar to the eclipsed sun. And that the starting line here has the sun on it, but it's not eclipsed. And they have the sun here as well, right? The two energies. I think this is the realization of person number 2, that they have to go deep. and recognize the fact that they don't actually want to be with this person, this first person. The clarity of the mind. Maybe they were once lost. Maybe they didn't know who they were or what they wanted. They had that loss of identity of self. Maybe they were trying to allow their definition to come through the first person, right? Allowing the first person to define them as important, to define them as the angel, to define them as the key to happiness for someone else. Like maybe they wanted that definition only to realize that's not who they are. They're a lawful evil card. They can't fill that role. They're a shadow contract to the first person. They are a shadow contract to the first person. It doesn't mean they're a shadow contract in all of life, but they are to this first person. They have to let them go. They have to be the villain. They have to be. They cannot stay a victim to person number one's reckless and dangerous empathy. It's reckless. This person doesn't want to actually heal. They might have no identity of self either. And they're creating their purpose and making person number two, the Rakshasa, their purpose. But they don't know who they are if they're not serving the Rakshasa, right? They don't know who they are. If they're not in service to the Rakshasa, then they don't have any clue what they're going to do with themselves. They've made the Rakshasa the whole reason for everything. I think the truth sets you free with that top and bottom of the deck being truthful and solution oriented. The twin and betrayal, this could most definitely be a quote unquote twin flame dynamic, where the person receiving, which would be the Rakshasa, the person receiving, comes off like they've betrayed or taken the head off or completely humbled the masculine energy, which is person number one, right? Masculine being a vibration of the one creating, the one doing, the one providing all of the relationship, the one calling the shots. And that would be the empath, person number one, regardless of gender. Someone in the masculine energy is the one providing everything, making it all possible, the chaser. Yeah, regardless of gender, the masculine is the chaser. The feminine is the runner. The feminine receives. They don't want to receive what the masculine is trying to create. I know a lot of divine feminines out there that say, I'm divine feminine, I'm divine feminine. It's like, no, you're supposed to be divine feminine. You're in your divine masculine energy and you're chasing. It can happen, same thing with men. Men could be the receiving of a masculine feminine or a masculine female, right? Someone who is chasing, and vice versa. You know, men can be empathic and trying to provide and trying to make it work, and the feminine or the female is just not, they're not into it. They don't actually want it. And they're just using you because you insist on giving. You insist on being the angel. When really you have to break through your own ceilings. Right? The light hammer is about breaking through your own ceilings. And start cutting people off that don't actually want to be with you. They're not actually reciprocating your positive energy. You're getting negative energy in return. It doesn't feel good. Right? The honey jar is in the reverse. It does not feel good. It stings. You're not getting the sweetness of life. You're putting in all of this effort into someone who is taking all of your effort but not reciprocating because being with you doesn't even resonate with them. But yet they have all of these expectations to meet that you put on them. They don't actually want to be a part of your experience, though. They're only in it because you won't stop chasing. You won't go away. So like, fine, I'll use you then. And they're only going to use you to the point that they absolutely have to leave and let you go or push you away. Like truly push you away. Be so nasty and horrible in their own light that they light a match inside your dark space. I think that whoever person number 2 is going to realize that they have to cut off person number 1. Definitively. That might be changing their number. That might be moving. That might be changing jobs. That might be blocking them on social media, creating new social media altogether, or leaving social media behind, like becoming like erased. That person number 2 would literally erase themselves from the ability of person number 1 to even reach out to them ever. Block them in email, block them in whatever, like they're going to completely eclipse them out and start fresh. I feel like there is a really strong possibility that person number 2 could straight up disappear. Straight up disappear. Which would leave person number 1 in a state of panic, chaos, ruin, detriment, you know, deep, deep down into the hole they dug themselves in. But it's not technically the Rakshas's fault. Person number 2. It's not their fault. That person number 1 decided to dig a mile deep and sit in the bottom of that hole. Person number 2 couldn't stop them from digging. Person number 2 got tired and couldn't fucking run anymore, and they gave up and gave in. Only to regain their strength and make sure it was enough to get out, hell or high water, at all costs, get out and get away. And never go back. There's a deep need to look at inner child wounds, right? Because we had sonar on the bottom of the other deck. Let's get some more insight. What deck, please, Spirit? All right, I got 2 decks. We're going to get a little more specific with the Lost Hollow and the Light Seers Tarot. Okay. So let's see what the actual dynamic between the 2 is as of present. And then we'll get some insight with the Light Seers Tarot into what that third energy is. Okay. Let's see. Specifics, please, Spirit. Specifics, please. What is going on between these 2? What is going on between these 2? Got the Ace of Swords sideways. With the 5 of Swords, defeat in the reverse. And the Emperor. What else? Ooh. The World card in the reverse. And the 8 of Cups Chariot. The Four of Pentacles, power in the reverse. Give me one more. And then Nine of Swords. Prince of Wands is on the bottom with the Queen of Wands on top. Really, the Prince of Wands is sitting in a wheelchair, smoking a cigarette, wearing a mask. There could be hardcore detrimental Leo placements. Leo, there may be Venus in Leo being squared by the different Taurian energies going on. There could be Chiron there, or aspected. In your chart or theirs. We've definitely got Aries and Cancer out here, which are in square naturally. And we've got the world out here, fixed sign energy, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. There's also Saturn. The Ace of Swords sideways, clarified by the Eight of Cups. I think someone is in denial that they need to move forward, or unable to speak that truth that they want to move forward. It's like they flip-flop about it. It's like a part of them wants to move forward because it's not in alignment with them. It doesn't feel good. But they have this wound where they're chasing fulfillment and are trying to control how it happens. It could also be that they flip-flop on whether or not they should leave, but realize they don't actually have any excuse to leave other than the relationship doesn't resonate with them. Right? The first person is so good to them, though, loves them so much, though, would do anything for them, though. How could I leave if it just doesn't resonate with me? Well, how could you live with yourself lying to somebody, telling them that you love them and you care about them and it's okay and they're amazing when you don't actually love them or want to be with them? How do you live with yourself? Right? The World card, really, with the Nine of Swords. The World being in the reverse. This is there's unfinished business here concerning lessons, long lessons of power and control, and that true power comes within releasing control, letting go of the outcome, letting go of what you think it should be. Because we try and control things because we think it should be a certain way. When we release the need to define it, that it should be a certain way, and are open to other paths or possibilities, choices, or methods of experiencing, we are actually allowing ourselves to surrender and release control. True power, right? Emperor energy is when you let go of what you're holding on to. We had a big conversation about this in the personal read that I did right before this on for the members, our Divine Rebel members, and it was about releasing labels. Labels hold expectations. Well, you're a parent. You're my twin flame. You're my mother. You're my child. You are my boss. You are my employee. You are my best friend, right? All of these labels cause expectations. And we try and control things and hold power over things with labels. If you take the labels away, whatever the label is, if you take the label away, would you still be in that situation? What if they were not your quote unquote twin flame? What if they were not your quote unquote son or daughter? What if they were not your quote unquote husband, wife, partner? If you took away the label and the expectations on you or them that the label brings, would you be inside that situation then? Well, they're my mother. I have to deal with them. I have to be there for them. I have to put up with their shit. If you take away the label and they're just a person and this is how they behave and this is how they carry on and this is how they talk to you and this is how they treat you. If you took the label away, would you want them in your life? With no label. And you take all the expectations that the labels bring off. If you could choose yes or no, they're an amazing person in my life or they're a pain point in my life, would you continue? Because that's what this is asking, right? That's what this is asking. There's something that hasn't been learned, something that hasn't been completed, and it's causing anxiety. It's creating, right? The world manifests. It's creating a very anxious nightmare state of reality. It's a nightmare. The Queen of Wands has a desire to manifest certain things. It's vision. The suit of Wands is a suit of visions. It's a suit of spirit. It's visionary energy. What are we visualizing? The Queen of Wands wants to receive a certain vision, but the masculine aspect is handicapped and not choosing an alignment with it. It's not choosing an alignment with it. Yeah, there's a certain vision, like wanting to live happily ever after, but the masculine, being in its wounded energy, is not choosing what is actually in alignment with that happily ever after vision. Maybe they want to receive happily ever after, but they want it specifically with a person who is not meant for them. It's not actually in their highest good. That's what releasing control is. Well, yeah, I want to be with my happily ever after person. Okay, so can you surrender control and let go of what you're holding on to for dear life and step into your power? True power, by releasing control and saying, yeah, I want happily ever after, but it might not be this person. Because if it was this person, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. All right, this is about divinely moving forward with the Chariot, forward from defeat, from loss, from conflict, from ego battles where one person wants one thing and one person wants another thing, and those two things are not aligning. Those two things are not aligning. You want different things. Person number one wants to be with person number two and wants person number two to be like them and love them like they love person number two. Person number two wants to be happy, wants to be free, wants to, live their life without expectations and can't because person number one won't let them go. Person number one just keeps chasing. Like, this is the head-to-head battle going on. They both want different things. One person wants to be free and the other person wants to imprison or be imprisoned. Person number one is hell-bent on being enslaved to person number two. Hell-bent. They want to martyr themselves into the ground. They got some serious fucking mommy or daddy issues. They want to martyr themselves into the ground and quote unquote heal or fix person number 2. But person number 2 doesn't need fucking fixing. They don't need fixing. They might not be a quote unquote perfect person according to societal standards, but they have their fucking place in the world, and it's not being the enslaver of person number 1. They have somewhere else to be, other people to meet, and other things to do. Person number 1's not in the equation. Or at least they shouldn't be in the equation. Maybe they don't have to be person number 1's enslaver. And they're holding on to this because person number 1 wants them to, but they don't want to. They feel like they can't choose what they really want. They can't express that they want to move forward. The divine is going to move them forward. At some point, the divine is going to move them forward, and they're going to have to let go and embrace the release of the nightmare. Close that chapter. They're going to have to close that chapter. They probably had unfinished business from a past life, these two. Or one person felt owed by the other. Or one person felt they were in debt to the other. And at some point, that debt's going to be paid. They won't owe somebody anymore. Maybe person number 1 owed love to person number 2. But person number 2 left that life not giving 2 shits about person number 1 because person number 1 hurt them. But person number 1 owed them from a past life. So now they're forcing love on person number 2, forcing receiving on person number 2 to pay that debt. But person number 2, once that debt's paid, they're out. They're like, you don't owe me anymore. Enough is enough. You've paid that debt. It was probably causing anxiety because person number 1 was probably cruel to person number 2 in a past life. Now the debt is paid. Or it's about to be. Let's get into the Lightseer Tarot with this third energy over here, which is, I feel like, some kind of resulting choice or resulting path. What does that look like? What does that look like? Spirit, please. Insight into the lost. Reverse with the eclipsed sun. The fish and the starting line. The vindictive, responsive energy. What does that look like? There's the Queen of Wands right here. They desire the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is here. Success because the light has sparked, right? Success because the light has sparked inside the palm of their hand. It's reminding me of the match. We got the Ten of Pentacles. The King of Wands reversed. King of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. And the Page of Swords. Person number 1 is bitter. Person number 1 is actually who's bitter. The King of Wands. Because they're not actually the counterpart to the Queen of Wands. They thought they were. They're not in alignment. The Queen of Wands actually desires the King of Pentacles, someone solid, someone stable, someone loyal. someone reliable, consistent. The Queen of Wands. You see, that's what you have to understand. Of all the royal court cards, the King and the Queen of Wands are independent characters. They can be counterparts to each other, but not necessarily. They visualize. They decide what it is that they want to create. Sometimes what they want to create is not another visionary. Sometimes what they want to create is someone intelligent, someone smart, or someone stable and financially sound, someone reliable, someone emotional, someone intuitive, right? They desire to manifest the other royal suit cards. The Queen of Wands wants to manifest a Queen of Pentacles. That's what they, or King of Pentacles. That's what they desire. They desire to manifest and are visualizing someone stable and reliable. The King of Wands in the reverse is a selfish prick. Okay? They're selfish. They have their own vision. They have their own goal. Their tunnel vision on it. That's the first person. That's the first person, their tunnel vision. The King of Wands in the reverse is controlling and tyrannical. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're having angry outbursts, though they might. They could be emotionally controlling, manipulative. They have a certain vision and they want to achieve the vision, even if it hurts other people. The King of Wands in the reverse is a prick, regardless of gender. The Ten of Pentacles with the Six of Pentacles, whoever the Queen of Wands is, whoever person number 2 is. They don't want a visionary who's defining them, who's putting expectations on them, who's keeping them stagnating in a comfort zone of essentially being controlled. They don't want to be in a dominant role, enslaving person number 2 to serve them, or person number 1 to serve them. They don't want it. What they want is someone, I'm hearing, mentally stable, real world stable, loyal, right? The dog in the image. I know the glare is there, but there's a dog there. They want someone who holds their light and cherishes their light, not block it out. They want someone to support them on their path and not define them, what they have to do or need to do to appease somebody else, right? Negating their own feelings out of compassion for someone else. And the King of Wands reverse is going to be spying. Spying. You might have person number 2 might have a serious fucking stalker on their hands. Because that King of Wands reverse, that's person number 1. Spying. Which is why I said earlier in the live, you may need to cut them off and cut them off fully. Change your email, change your job, change your location, change your social media, change your number. Disappear. Disappear. The Nine of Pentacles is on the bottom. Sovereignty. With the moon on top. Double nines. Yeah, it's the ending of a cycle. The ending of the cycle. It's the getaway. It's diving real deep. Because this has been quite an illusion. Quite a distraction from what is actually real. The authentic path of the self versus someone in control and in a karmic cycle, right? The 1 and the 8. It always has to end. The 1 and the 8 equals 9. It has to close. It is a single individual, right? One, initiating a karmic cycle, an infinite loop, and it's a delusion. The moon, it's Piscean in the tarot. Past lives. Where we get emotionally involved. But as someone in control of a karmic cycle, when you bring it together, you get the 9. You get sovereignty. You close the cycle with third-party people. You plant seeds of growth and learn forgiveness, right? For all the crazy shit that you've been through. Like never again, when pigs can fly. Literally a flying pig here. When pigs can fly, you're not willing to go through this anymore. You got to forgive yourself for needing to go through the rebirth cycle, the death cycle, to figure out your identity, right? The lost. You didn't have an identity before this situation. You didn't know who you were or what your purpose was. And so either you were making somebody else outside of yourself your whole purpose, or you were being someone else's purpose because you didn't know who you were. And so you allowed yourself to be defined by somebody else's need to have purpose and make you their purpose. It's fucking wild. You're learning who you are and what you want and what you don't want. And that it is okay to say enough. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to pretend like I'm okay and that you're great and everything is perfect when it's not. I don't want to say I love you and not mean it. I don't want to say no problem, of course, and fucking hate it. Right. What is the guidance? Please, Spirit, let's use spiritual as fuck deck. Okay. What is the guidance, please, Spirit? What is the guidance, please? What is the guidance, please? You are a product of what you believe. Guess who ain't gotta explain shit to nobody? You. If you're person number 2, you don't have to explain yourself to person number 1. You do not have to explain yourself or why you want to go or why you don't want to be there. You just don't. It says, quit trying to explain yourself to everyone. No one has to understand your brand of cuckoo. You got to own your shit, but that's a whole lot different than trying to get everyone else to sign off on whatever weirdness you want to create. Get on with your freaky little self. You freaky little fuck. It might seem crazy to everybody else. How could you leave this person? They love you so much. How could you leave this person? They do everything for you. They would do anything for you. To them, it's crazy. But to you, it's crazy to stay. For you, it is crazy to stay. And owning your own shit, owning how you feel is a whole lot easier than trying to get everybody else and convince everybody else that what you want is right. You don't got to explain shit to anybody. It says, if you think you're a turd, You're probably going to act like a turd, treat yourself like a turd, and accept turd treatment from others. Why the fuck would you do that? First off, you're not a turd. It's just physically impossible to be a turd and a sentient being at the same time. But even if you have been kind of turdy, you believing you're golden will bring on all that golden behavior and that golden treatment. Today, just believe you're golden. If you liked it better there, go back to Turd Town tomorrow. Even if, quote unquote, person number one is treating person number two like they're gold. On paper, they drop everything, for this person. They would do anything for this person. They're martyring themselves for this person. They're financially investing over and over and over and over and doubling down in this person. They're treating them like gold. What if they're actually treating them like shit, though? Controlling them and making person number two be something that they're not. If person number two believes they're a piece of shit, that's why they're letting person number one, who quote unquote treats them like gold, treat them like shit. That's why. It is pretty shitty to negate your own path or force somebody to negate their path and negate their wants and desires to fulfill your own. I need you to fill these labels. I need you to meet up to these expectations. I need you to fulfill these obligations that I'm putting on you because I do all of these things. Even if it's quote unquote being treated like gold in the eyes of other people, they would do anything for you. If it's keeping you from your authentic path, though, it's because they're treating you like shit. The reality of it. The spiritual reality of it. That's why person number two eventually doesn't want anything to do with person number one, because they're not being treated like gold. They're being controlled. They're being manipulated. They're being defined by someone who is not resonating with themselves. Person number two is discovering who they are. And who they are is not person number one's whole purpose for existence. That's not why they're here. They're not here to be served by person number one. That's not why they're here. The top of the pile. 3 ways to fail at everything in life. Complain about everything, blame others for your problems, and never be grateful. Today's to-do list. 1, don't complain about shit. 2, take full responsibility for every single thing in your life. And 3, be grateful for shit. Tonight's to-do list. 1, look at yourself in the mirror. 2, see how hot you are for yourself. And 3, be grateful for your bad self. Be grateful. All of these shadows, right? All of these different shadow cards that come out. Your darkness serves the light. Quit dimming your light for people with shitty ass mindsets. Quit dimming your light for people with shitty ass mindsets. Bottom of the deck. So you want to be a badass, show your heart to everyone. Showing your heart to everyone is about showing what you love, right? It says it takes a lot of courage to be authentic in this world. Showing your heart doesn't mean you're soft all the time or that you're a hot mess or a doormat. It means you're showing up fully as yourself. You know what's weak as fuck? living a fake ass life trying to please others. Living a fake ass life. That's not showing your heart to anyone. And that is the message, guys. So if you caught this in divine time, I have faith it caught you for a reason. Because you're probably the Rakshasa. You may have at one point in your life been person number one. Most of you are going to be the Rakshasa. Others of you are going to have revelations about person number one and how you were in that energy at some point. Wondering why you were getting hurt by the Rakshasa when the Rakshasa was just being what you wanted them to be. You just didn't realize it. They were trying to fulfill a role for you, an expectation for you that they just didn't resonate with. You probably owed them from a past life. And the debt's paid. Move on and find yourself now. You ain't got to explain shit to nobody. It's fine. And remember, you're a product of what you believe. All right? I love you guys, and I hope you all have a blessed day wherever you are. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next time. Take care.